Hi, it's Lee, and welcome to the Tesla Economist. Alright, after reading more of your comments, it seems that some of you are losing conviction out there. Remember, I'm not a cheerleader here who's just going to tell you to hold or buy the dip and everything will be alright because of my blind faith in what Elon can do. Although I always like watching those rockets landing, just to remind me at times, if this is what Elon can do with rockets, then what can he do with something as basic as a car? Like I say, investing is an emotional game as much as it is analytical. You can analyze companies all day long and find ones that look like they have a great future and perform well and invest in them accordingly. But your analysis can't stop the stock price dropping. That's when you need to be in control of your emotions. Stick with your conviction. You did the research, assuming it was thorough. The company looked good to you. If nothing has changed except the stock price, then it should simply look like better value, and you may wish to invest more. Of course, things do change in a company, and you need to keep on top of your investment. I mean, just look at Facebook or Meta right now. A lot of people are saying it's not just the macros attacking the stock price, but it's Elon himself. He's doing the most damage to Tesla's stock price with what he is doing with the likes of Twitter. But that doesn't change the fact that Tesla still make great cars. And some people are saying he's attacking the left and losing consumers, and others say, I won't buy a Tesla because I don't like Elon Musk. But at the end of the day, when you have $50,000 to $60,000 to spend on an electric car, most consumers don't want to drop that much money on the wrong vehicle. Elon hasn't done any real damage. In fact, it's likely still under the category of no such thing as bad publicity, and Twitter is getting tons of it right now. And sure, they may temporarily be losing some advertisers, but Elon hasn't said anything hostile or negative to anyone. He is trying to simply balance out the left and right speech so it's not too heavily weighted to one side, left or right, especially when it comes to the likes of elections. He hasn't insulted any group of people. He's doing this because he believes in free speech. And it's likely that at the end of the day, people will forget all about this and just end up being really happy that they now have this great new everything app that can do so many more great features and improve our living standards. They are fickle, and in the meantime, Tesla still has plenty of demand. Compare this to, say, Travis Kalanick, the founder of Uber. He really did have negative actions that were not good for the brand, and eventually they did get rid of him. But people were still using Uber, although at one stage there was a viral tweet about not using Uber anymore. But Elon hasn't crossed any lines like Travis did, and Elon is doing this for the good of humanity. I, for one, am really looking forward to having this new app and what it will be able to do so much more. It's exciting. And okay, it may cost a little bit, but it's not a lot extra. Anyway, like I said, this will all pass. Just like when Elon smoked cannabis on the Joe Rogan show or other various Elon antics. He's not going to be your conventional CEO, and he still has a tremendous amount of value to add to Tesla. For the company, these are not the headlines that matter, at least in the medium to long term. Instead, these are the headlines that we should be focusing on. Ones that matter to the long-term fundamentals of the business, like the fact that Tesla are currently clearing 70 hectares of trees at Berlin for more expansion. That's about 7.5 million squared feet. For reference, the Fremont factory has a footprint of 1.9 million square feet. In other words, that is an enormous amount of space. This is actually quite a big deal, or at least could be. It's a large enough space for a whole new factory, much more than just a cathode factory or so. Remember, we expect to hear a new location of the next gigafactory soon, but we can also likely expect expansions of current locations in the meantime also. It may end up being a lithium refinery perhaps. I'm not quite sure how large a footprint that would require, but they are capital intensive. It's far too big for a larger 4680 factory. Giga Berlin is the headquarters for Europe. We've seen plans in the past that Tesla want to build 4 times the size of the existing Model Y factory. It's possible that a larger new facility will start construction here. It may be a Model 3 factory, but it might also be the new robotaxi or compact Tesla factory for Europe too. The thing is, it's got to be a good sign that Tesla are still planning on this much further expansion. It shows that they have the supplies and resources to build more vehicles, along with further demand for consumers to keep buying these vehicles. This is the kind of evidence you want to see that Tesla is successful. And there's some strange FUD going around lately, comparing Tesla to companies like Nikola or even Theranos. Well, if it was like Theranos, then that would mean that you could have actually had a Theranos machine at your house, then you could upload your blood and see it all working before your eyes, and then it gave you a reading of perhaps 10 or so of the tests out of the 100 or whatever was allegedly meant to be able to achieve. We are witnessing FSD's evolution. We are experiencing it ourselves. It's not just a Tesla employee showing us what it can do, and FSD testers are reporting on continual progress. And this is the way it will continue to be. Some people expect Elon to just say, FSD is finished, but he's also explained it will be the march of nines, continuing to improve year over year, or update over update more like. And sometime by like 2030, it will be incredible at that rate. Alright, Elon has not done himself any favours announcing that FSD will be ready, I think he first said as early as 2016. And now the last we heard was it would be potentially as safe as a human this year. And we keep believing him. Okay, the market doesn't believe him, but I find him convincing. It's not easy, and they hit roadblocks, so much so that Tesla had to redesign the architecture of the platform to vision only. Is this just another scheme to explain why it's being delayed yet again? Well, the car can still do everything it could before, except now it doesn't have a radar, like every other car that has radar cruise control. So there is evidence pointing that they have achieved this without radar. And now the latest is that it doesn't even need ultrasonic sensors. This I find hard to believe. How can it judge distances so well without sensors? With just vision only? Well, we're seeing new Model 3s now without containing any sensors. Not only does that make manufacturing easier, lower cost, and the car even look better without a radar or sensors all around it, it also is more evidence that Tesla are able to achieve these mind-blowing, continual technological advances. The evidence is there. Even my autopilot is astounding, and it doesn't have a radar. And I live in a country that is not even close to the latest version of FSD. Okay, sure, he has called the years wrong again and again, but perhaps this isn't just for us to hear. Perhaps it's for the engineers to hear. Elon tells them, we want FSD ready by the end of the year. And they say, it's very difficult to do that. It's going to take more like 10 years. Elon tells them, well, you've got until the end of the year. And then announces it publicly. So they truly believe that that is the deadline. A lot of projects will take 10 years if you say you have 10 years to do them. But if you tell people a 10-year project has to be done in 1 year, then maybe it will be done in 5. The engineers will work that much harder to meet the deadline. It's possible Elon isn't necessarily saying when he thinks it will happen, but perhaps he is saying what he thinks will make it happen the fastest. Well, that's what I believe, but I can understand if you think I may have gone a little extra delusional fanboy in that explanation as to why Tesla still don't have FSD, despite Elon saying it would be ready years ago. But like I also say, we're seeing the evidence of removing the sensors and radars too. Oh, and of course, the evidence of the actual FSD working right in front of you. Theranos had to process your blood off-site and send the results back to you later. This is all happening under your eyes. They're not controlling FSD by remote control or anything, or like Nikola rolling their semi-trucks down a hill. Anyway, this is the FSD product that, in case you didn't notice, I rarely add to any future test evaluations. I don't specialize in AI or FSD like others, so I don't pretend to say how I think it's ready. I decided to concentrate more on studying batteries, which I believe to be a more fundamental, core part of the business. And then the semi-truck, something a lot of people said wasn't possible. Well, we're now less than a month away for the first delivery for the trucks to Pepsi. So again, that would be nice to see a bit more proof of just how amazing this company is. Of course, if you get to drive a performance Model 3 every day, then that helps too. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.